927.
It's okay not to be okay. You may be feeling a bit scared, worried, or anxious. You may be worried about your income and wondering when things will get back to normal. You may be concerned about your health and the health of your family. There's a lot to deal with right now. If you're feeling unable to cope or just want to talk to someone, please call the mental health hotline at 1-800-534-6463, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Caring professionals are there to listen. For more information on COVID-19 and managing anxiety, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
I have to take a business trip, and I want John to keep things running while I'm away. How can I ensure he keeps within budget? Maybe I need to get him a camera to record everything he does 24/7. Maybe not. Instead, get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with employees for free, and you set the spending limit, so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
This February, on an island where the sun glows hot and the ocean breeze blows cool, a sandwich like no other has returned. The Big King is back. 2 freshly flame-grilled 100% beef patties, American cheese, crispy lettuce, tangy pickles, fresh onions, and the stacker sauce, all sandwiched between a triple-layered bun. Have it your way and double the patties, cheese, or add bacon. It's the sandwich the Big Mac wished it was. The Big King, available for a limited time only at Burger King.
If you care about your car's performance and fuel economy, you'll want to fill up with the new Pure 93 at Rubis. As the highest octane fuel available in Cayman, Pure 93 will protect against engine knock, restore power, keep your engine clean, and will even reduce maintenance costs. Fuel up at your local Rubis. You'll notice a difference. Meets international performance requirements for your car. Come fuel the difference with Pure 93. Exclusively available at Rubis service stations.
Let's go. Connect to the culture. If we're talking respect, then I got a whole lot.
Star 927.
I want to say good evening to everyone out there in traffic going home. I'm about to bring you some great news. Very informative this evening. We're continuing, I can call it the evening drive with Health City. I don't like the straight talk moniker too much. It sounds a little bit too much. But we do have Health City in the studio this lovely Monday evening. I'm going to give you a lot of information on some stuff I had no idea you guys were doing. But first, let's introduce yourself, sir. You're no stranger.
Yeah, man. It's good to be back. Happy New Year. I know it's February.
The voice of everything.
But once you see, as soon as we come back, we have to say Happy New Year. So
yes,
Happy New Year to you, sir, and Happy New Year to all of your listeners in the Cayman Islands.
Yes, and Happy New Year to you, and especially Health City. Now, you guys did something grand last month.
We did.
It was groundbreaking on a 70,000 square feet state-of-the-art modern facility.
That's right.
Over at Camana Bay. I always got to say it right. Camana Bay.
Oh, that's how you say it?
That's supposed to be how you say it.
I say Camana Bay. So
well, you're wrong, sir.
I might be wrong, but that's okay.
So
I will always put Cayman in the center of everything. So
true. There you go. I like that. So, now, this is huge. Yes. Tell us more about this state-of-the-art facility and what is going to be there first. I have the key points, but I just want to hear. Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, just to mention that I'm used to seeing beautiful faces here, and you know, wow. I guess you know we can, with your energy, we'll make this work. But you know,
I'm sorry.
You know,
I apologize,
but you know,
hey.
it's okay. It's okay. But just to mention, all jokes aside, that what we're doing at Camana Bay is actually having what's going to be a world-renowned cancer center. Wow. So the hospital will have many other things that we'll speak about, but the first thing from a radiotherapy perspective, radiation and the such, anybody who would need that type of service previously would have to travel overseas in order to get it. And if you know anybody who has had the ailment with cancer, you understand the stress and pressure. So imagine being away from your family, only having one or two of your support mechanism with you when you go through weeks of radiotherapy. Now it's right here. Right. So this is a gap that For the most part, there are only one or two others in the Caribbean, and in the Cayman Islands, we would be the only offering radiotherapy.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So it has not been offered here before.
No. So you'll have, chemotherapy. You would hear about that.
Mhm.
Depending on the type of cancer, there's a certain level of surgical oncology
Mhm.
for cancer that would occur. But this would be the first time you would have radiotherapy on island. And when you actually look at, even from a cost perspective, radiotherapy typically is one of the most costly treatments when it comes to medicine in general. And the cost in the US is astronomical. So we're going to be able to reduce the cost,
Right.
but also give access directly to Caymanians and their families and residents alike right here at home in the Cayman Islands. And apart from that, in a lot of other countries that don't have deep insurance penetration, the one good thing about the Cayman Islands is, for the most part, we have deep penetration. And if you are Caymanian and you need to gain access, the government steps in,
Right.
and they will fly you overseas. But there are many Caribbean countries that only have between 10 to 20% of their population that's actually insured. And when it comes to radiotherapy, medicine is rationed, and there are a lot of people who go without. We're going to have it at a price point that other countries will be able to afford on behalf of their nationals to send those persons to us.
Now, when would you need? Because obviously, as you said, we've all heard of chemotherapy.
Correct.
When do you need radiotherapy? What's the difference? And
So it just depends on the type of cancer, and that's why next time we will definitely bring our oncologist to explain more. But it just depends on the type of cancer you have and what stage it's at, whether or not some people will need chemo without the radiotherapy, but we're between 50 and 65% will need some level of radiotherapy when they're treating cancer, and that's why we're here. We're going to be able to offer that to everybody on island.
Now, if you just tune in, we have Health City inside the studio, and they did a groundbreaking on a brand new hospital site, state-of-the-art facility, and one of the key features would be radiotherapy.
Correct.
And intensive key feature cancer care and stuff. So I also see you have neonatal intensive care. Now, explain to those. I know what it is, but explain to other people what does that mean for Cayman?
So what's interesting is, throughout the Caribbean, they're known as $1 million babies. And
Really?
the reason they're known as $1 million babies is because for the majority of persons in the Caribbean, when you have either a premature baby or a baby that's born that has certain difficulties, to get the specialist care that you need, you have to send them to the US. And it's at least $1 million for every baby that goes to the US for the most part.
Wow.
So when we've been around the Caribbean and even Latin America, and when we're talking about everything we have to offer, there are three things that persons always ask us for outside of what we have. And it's always radiotherapy, which we're bringing.
Right.
$1 million babies. Are you going to have your setup so that we, for a fraction of the cost, we can send our babies to you? And the third is burns. That we're not offering burns.
Right.
We don't have a burn unit. But those are the three things that because we have everything: cardiac, neuro, orthopedics, general surgery, and very shortly with the regs for transplant, we'll be able to do all the levels of transplant here on.
So I was actually what I was coming up with next, but just to keep in the neonatal cares, when obviously I just had. Did you as well just have a newborn? Were you?
No,
I'm just remembering. Like my kid is 2 years old.
Mine is 3.
Yeah, so it's around somewhere close there.
Right. But
I do remember
not newborn.
Right. I do remember when we were going through it. My wife did have a procedure where they had to stitch the cervix.
Okay.
So that's when I'm like, oh wow. So because I'm still oblivious as a man to the complications of pregnancy. And I remember them saying, if this doesn't hold, we have to now fly your wife and the kid off. And I'm like, why? Because there's nowhere in the Caribbean
correct
that can service premature. And I was like, what? Isn't this common? I'm pretty sure there's a preemies dropping all the time. They're like, yeah, we just don't have it. So I was very pleasant to read that in your press
Definitely,
release
definitely.
that's something here.
And HSA, which delivers obviously the majority of babies on island, also have a certain level of NICU, as it's called, within HSA. So we'll also work very closely with them. So at the higher level, that when it gets a little bit more specialized that they're not able to manage, we'll be able to manage that at Hill City as well.
That is amazing. Again, good research. Whoever gave you, as you said, the what you should put in. I also see you have, and you mentioned it, you guys will be able to do organ transplants here on island.
That's correct. That's correct. And we already have all of the physicians, and we have, as Health City has progressed, when we were bringing in new physicians, for instance, we have Dr. Deepak, he's also a surgeon that's able to work on the pancreas, which is very rare, but he's also a liver transplant surgeon.
Wow.
So there was a case where there was a young man, mistaken identity, and had gotten stabbed a few years ago at Badabanu.
Okay.
And HSA did a great job saving him. And then when it reached a level, they had to transfer him to us. Luckily, we had one of the few liver surgeons in the region at Health City that we were able to save that young man's life. If he wasn't there, with the amount of bleeding, he wouldn't have made it to Miami, for instance.
You guys have a lot of those stories where
definitely.
So do you guys get a lot of other Caribbean islands coming here for surgery?
Well, pre-pandemic, and now we're getting back with the removal of quarantines and such, that we're getting patients that can come back to us, because a lot of people also they wouldn't understand or realize that the US, which is our number one source market from a tourism perspective, they have over 60% first jab rate, so they don't have to quarantine once you're vaccinated.
Okay.
A lot of the Caribbean islands don't have the 60%, and you still need to quarantine even if you are vaccinated for 7 days.
Right.
So obviously that's a barrier for certain people. But very shortly, we should be back in the game and getting more. But to answer your first question, we got a lot of patients from all over, from Turks and Caicos, Anguilla, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Vincent. The list goes on. Is
that the goal, like to be the hospital destination for the Caribbean, like right here?
Right. So we also get patients from the US as well as from Canada, as well as LATAM and cruise lines. You would know the story that the first known case of COVID would have been from a cruise ship. And it's because we have contracts with all the cruise ships to take care of emergencies as well as elective cases. So these cruise lines are self-insured, and they have 50,000 crew members. Wow. So when they need medical services,
they come here.
They would come here as well. So we had varied patients from all over. But the most important thing that we were doing is that, in and of itself, a lot of these super specialty types of services, it wouldn't make sense to offer them in the Cayman Islands standalone. But because we would have additional volumes of patients coming in, then it actually makes sense. And we're filling gaps. So that's why it makes sense to have a Health City. You didn't have cardiology, interventional cardiology before Health City. You didn't have cardiothoracic surgery before Health City. And there are certain levels of care that, even though we're this quotation mark first world country, persons still would need to go overseas when you're having life-threatening types of diseases as well as instances. And now that we offer it here, we're fulfilling that gap, which obviously a hospital needs patients, which helps to keep the hospital alive, while we work on all of those other patients that come in to avail themselves of the super specialty types of procedures and surgeries that we offer.
And I see another key feature I would have to say is bone marrow transplant capabilities.
BMT, correct. So BMT, bone marrow transplant, will be first in the Caribbean and only in the Caribbean to be offering that. So there are certain ailments that you would need that type of unit to be able to heal, as well as to help persons with quality of life. And we at Health City, once again, are proud that we will be the first in the Cayman Islands, as well as one of the first in the Caribbean to bring that service to our shores as well.
Now, is the goal to be first or to be great?
Well, I mean, for us, we're always looking to do both, right? Because you want to fill gaps, right? And once you solidify certain areas, then you look to see where's the next area that give the maximum benefit. And it just so happens, due to the population sizes of most of the various countries, it doesn't lend itself to being able to offer these types of services. But because we have such a huge network of our hospitals in India, we're able to bring the best of the best, right? And we have teams of physicians and nurses and intensive care and an intensive care unit that all work together like an ecosystem that you're able to take up a high functioning and hospital, move it across the seas, and more or less drop it into a small country just an hour away from the U.S. shores.
Do you think us as locals, do we think we understand what we have in our backyard?
The interesting thing is persons who, when they need to have this type of direct interaction, then they realize what we have, and more persons are really understanding what's here, and it's here for them. And the more lives you save, the more people you touch. Then, and the interesting thing is, our front of house, for instance, would be 70% Caymanians. Right. Correct. And as with any other business, you have peaks and troughs, and sometimes you have staff out, staff in, and even, you're always weighing that customer service. But the one thing that's constant, no matter what happens out front or ringing the phone or the email, when you actually see that physician, then people get to realize why it's worth coming to Health City. And obviously we're working on all those other areas to always try and offer a certain level of customer service, but getting to see that physician that truly understands and also is compassionate isn't something that you can actually measure. And we hear that from our patients.
I actually have two friends that they said Health City saved their life. One was having a heart attack. He didn't know, but he suspected. So he drove to Health City, and they then evaluated on the spot, you're having a heart attack. And they went in immediately through, I don't know if his wrist or his side of it. I can't remember what he said. And boom, and saved his life. Another friend, same thing. And I was like, wow.
So it's interesting that you're talking about the actual stenting that goes through the wrist. So only 20% of the cardiologists will go through the wrist. It takes more technique, but it actually gets to your heart quicker. The majority go through the groin. And the physicians we have go through the wrist, and it shows you the level of quality, as well as the superior outcomes that you'll get coming to Health City.
So let's talk about that. Doctors are great. Obviously, anyone who lives there know you've heard a story of Health City actually helping someone that 6 degrees separation. I'm reading in your press releases of this brand new state-of-the-art facility, robotic surgery. Now explain to me, what is that and why do we need it?
So there's a Da Vinci machine. That Da Vinci is one of the only manufacturers for this specific type of robot. It kind of has a monopoly in the medical world, and they then determine where they put these machines. And if you don't have a large enough population, they're kind of like, yep, great, but no, because we have to spend money to send our techs and also to train, etc.
So they select
where and who should get. The great thing about having NH, which is Narayana, which is our parent company, is that they have over 35 hospitals and embedded units throughout India, and they were actually purchasing 3 of the machines. So now we have their attention, and Dr. Shetty is always looking out for the Health City, and came and he said, but we're only purchasing this 3 if we can purchase a 4th, not asking for a discount or anything, but if we can purchase a 4th to put in the Cayman Islands. And when they looked at all of the work and everything Dr. Shetty has done and NH has done, they said, you know what? Okay, we'll put it in the Cayman Islands, we'll service it, and we'll also make sure that we can train your physicians within the US. They have centers there as well. But it was due to the fact that NH was the backing. So we would be one of the few. I think there's only one or two other countries in Caribbean that actually have the Da Vinci machine, and obviously we're the only one in the Cayman Islands. But it's precision, so it's really for general surgery, urology, gynecology, and your hands as a surgeon. Even if you are the best surgeon, you might have 96% accuracy.
Right.
The accuracy with the robot carries you to like 99.9%.
Wow.
So it's and I tell you what, when we get the machine, which is coming shortly enough, a few weeks time, I'll carry up there so that we can show you how it works.
So this machine will be in East End
First.
Okay.
And then once the hospital is up, we're moving it to Camana Bay. So you actually, it's kind of like a joystick in your hands. The machine moves just as your hands will move in order to go in and make finite cuts to get to where you need to go to. So
all right.
Yeah.
Avengers uniting at Health City.
And the way you actually demonstrate is you'll have a grape and you cut the grape and the machine can sew the grape back up.
Can sew the grape skin?
Yep.
The little thin grape skin?
Yep. Put it back on.
If it does that. Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
That's how they demonstrate for us lay people.
Yeah.
How important this machine is and the type of skill it takes to operate it, as well as what you can do with that machine.
All right. We'll be hearing from Dr. Shetty real soon. We have some clips with him. But another question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're doing a real good job, by the way.
Oh, well,
I think you do a lot of radio and TV, right?
Yeah. Every now and then.
East End.
Yes.
110 room facility. Again, you save many lives over there.
Yes.
Why is a new facility at Cayman Bay? Why town?
So two things. 70% of the population actually live in and around Georgetown and West Bay. So even though Barton Town is, still growing, and I think they always talk about the largest growing district. The truth is, over 70% still live in Georgetown as well as West Bay. And in any given day, over 90% during work hours will be on that side. So twofold. When you actually look at persons who are going through oncology types of treatment, cancer types of treatment, and you have fractions for radiation, that it's an ongoing process over many weeks. When we actually measured the amount of miles, the amount of minutes that would be saved for the majority of the island, it only made sense to have that location closer to where the people are. And persons who have stage 4 cancer, it will be a lifelong illness.
Right.
And as much as it may not be right, the majority of people, even going through their treatment at some point in time, will need to be back at work. So having a facility that is close, that you can pop in for half an hour to get your treatment, to then go back to work.
Oh, so that's how long the treatments are?
Anything anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
But you can actually come, take 5 minutes to get there, have your treatment, and go back to work. We all know, even though you can get to East End in 30 minutes, depending on how fast you drive.
Right.
If you're driving the speed limit, it'll take you about 45 minutes. So think about the hour and a half you shave off from somebody who is actually having to still continue their work life. And I hate to say work-life balance, but in that scenario, it truly is.
I always thought, if I had cancer or anything serious, the therapeutic drive to East End always did me good. I've been up there to get, either carry the kids or something.
Right.
And it's kind of therapeutic. You think about life.
It is.
Driving up to East.
It is.
So now when I go to Cayman Bay for the new facility, I'm going to be thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch.
Well, you can think about what you're gonna have at lunch in either location based on the great food we have there. But definitely, when you're going for a knee replacement, it's therapeutic. But when you have to go for prolonged treatments in a chair and or within the radiotherapy room. Time is important.
Very true.
And that's why. And then eventually, when we get back to normal and cruise ships are coming off, we have patients that would the crew members that would come for diagnostics, and we would need to get them all the way up to East End to drop them out before the cruise ship leaves.
Right.
And we have, knock on wood, we have the record for never missing one port in regards to our crew members. It's the only port that actually has that distinction and facility. But it would just make it that much easier if we had for diagnostics, if we had a hospital that was close for that portion of the cruise passengers.
So it won't be a situation where, obviously, yes, it specializes in cancer and bone marrow transplant, but it can still do basic diagnostics.
No, definitely.
So you won't have to. Okay.
Right. Yeah, you'll be able to do the whole slew of diagnostics, as well as we have an emergency room that will be there. Time is of the essence. We've saved a lot of lives by being in East End and being here, not having to go to Miami.
Right.
We'll save even more lives by being right there in town, that if you have an issue, you can get there so much more quicker than East End as well.
So the famous executive medical can also be done in the new facility.
Probably we will.
You won't say it, but
probably.
I'm gonna take a small break. We come out. We're gonna hear from the founder, Dr. Shetty, explaining all the good stuff at the brand new facility. What is it going to be called?
It's as of now, it's Health City Camana Bay.
Cayman Bay.
Camana Bay.
All right,
Health City Camana Bay.
All right, take a small break and come right back. We have Mr. Shamari Scott, Chief Business Officer over at Health City.
For the people. Like this and like that, y'all.
I've been making like 2,000 a minute. So high up through the clouds, I was swimming. I'm probably gonna drown when I'm She don't want the drink, she want the rent, man. She don't pay for nothing, she just get me. I like that. She don't even need me to try. Star 927. I like that, yo.
No matter where you are or where you're going, you deserve to be in control of your freedom. Introducing the new Cayman National online banking and mobile app experience. Enjoy quick and safe access with facial recognition and fingerprint login. Transfer funds and pay bills with ease. Sign up for online banking today and download our new mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
The COVID-19 booster provides an increased immune response, which means improved protection against getting infected or transmitting COVID-19. It's the best way to protect yourself, your loved ones, and our community. It is proven to be safe and effective, and it will save lives. If you are 18 years and older and received your second dose at least 3 months ago, then you are now eligible to receive your third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Get boosted. Let's keep working together to protect the ones we love. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus to learn more.
Looking for service at your fingertips? You can have that with Island Heritage. You don't have to leave home to access your personal insurance or pension information. At islandheritageinsurance.com, you can request an insurance quote or make your insurance payment using your credit or debit card. If you're looking to access your pension information, you can get that too. Simply log on to our pension portal for convenient access to your documents, statements, and payments. Visit us online today at islandheritageinsurance.com.
That's the sound of a bite-sized payment I made on my new laptop.
Can I make a bite-sized payment on this amazing vacation?
Yes, with Scotia Select Pay. Now my big-ticket credit card purchases are more manageable with flexible bite-sized payments over 3, 6, 9, or 12 months at a lower interest rate. Scotia Select Pay allows me to better plan my expenses over time. The best part? No credit checks or financing application. Visit ky.scotiabank.com. Conditions apply.
It's okay not to be okay. You may be feeling a bit scared, worried, or anxious. You may be worried about your income and wondering when things will get back to normal. You may be concerned about your health and the health of your family. There's a lot to deal with right now. If you're feeling unable to cope or just want to talk to someone, please call the mental health hotline at 1-800-534-6463, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Caring professionals are there to listen. For more information on COVID-19 and managing anxiety, Visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Star 927.
It's about time.
I'm #1, baby.
Yo.
You heard it from me.
Connect to the culture.
You're on that evening drive with me and my good friend, Mr. Shamari Scott from Health City. We are discussing all the great things Health City has been doing, and of course, the brand new 70,000 square foot facility that will be over by Cayman Bay. Key features with cancer treatment, bone marrow transplant, organ transplant, and so much. What's that key? I can never say the word. I gotta keep reading. Neonatal.
Yeah, neonatal.
Intensive
There we
care.
go. So you had it, man.
That was it.
Neonatal. Yeah.
There you go. NICU. All right. All that good stuff. Now we have, you want to intro this audio clip from Mr. Shetty?
So what it really is Dr. Shetty, for the groundbreaking, just due to a lot of the travel issues, coming all the way from India, would have wanted to be at the groundbreaking, but he wasn't able to be there.
Mhm.
So we had a video speech, and this is a portion of his speech that he gave at the groundbreaking, and we think it's important. So obviously we had a lot of dignitaries there, but we think it's important for persons in the Cayman Islands to hear from Dr. Shetty directly explaining what we're doing with this cancer care and where we're going in the future.
The expansion of health city services by the groundbreaking of $100 million new campus at Camana Bay will ensure that the entire population of Caribbean in general and Cayman Island in particular will have access to world-class affordable healthcare. 2022 is the 8th year of operation of Health City in Cayman Island. During these years, Health City has offered many life-saving and life-changing procedures on many Caymanians and the Caribbeans. Our new investment demonstrates our unwavering commitment to the community and thousands of people who trust in us for saving their life. When we first visioned building a health city at East End, we wanted to prove to the world that it is possible to offer world-class, affordable healthcare to all the citizens and change the way healthcare is delivered in Western Hemisphere. And we wanted to demonstrate in a premier jurisdiction like Cayman Island. We knew it will work, and now we have the proof. We have treated large number of patients from over 100 countries suffering from various types of complex problems at the health city in Cayman Island. Thanks to the support we have received from the Cayman Island government, we have truly established a center of excellence for tertiary care, which is recognized as one of the most advanced tertiary care center across the Western Hemisphere. And we have been written about in some of the prestigious business schools in their various case studies. We have saved thousands of lives because of the provision of medical procedures or major surgeries as an emergency service whenever it was required. Earlier, these services were unthinkable without crossing the border and flying to other countries. We have reassured all the senior citizens coming from Western countries who chose to live in Cayman Island because of its beautiful weather and a fantastic living condition, that anytime if they require any medical procedure, it is available in their own island. They don't need to fly back to their hometown. Some of the notable ones which stand up in my mind is a complex surgery on a little kid from Nicaragua who was born with this heart outside the chest. And this baby had a successful operation, and it is the first of this kind of operation in the Caribbean region. We undertook the first awake brain surgery in the English-speaking Caribbean by removing the brain tumor of a patient. We have done several firsts in the Caribbean region as well as the English-speaking Caribbean region. For example, for the first time in Caribbean, we have performed the laparoscopic lateral jet shoulder repair on a rugby player. We implanted for the first time artificial heart called as left ventricular assist device on a patient who was suffering from a weak heart, and with the artificial heart, he can get on with normal life. And we have many, many more firsts to our credit. Now we have a major plan for the Caribbean. We want to set up the most advanced facility for a cancer care, for the heart care, for the neonatal care, and organ transplant for the entire Caribbean region by setting up a super specialty center where all these complex procedures are done on a regular basis. This is our gift to the Caribbean so that no Caribbean citizen need to go elsewhere for any of the advanced healthcare.
Wow. This is his gift to the Caribbean.
That's right.
That is a quote. Is that your?
It was in Quotable Caribbean actually yesterday.
That was.
Wait, today's what, Monday?
Let me ask them. What
Friday then? Sorry.
Yeah. What is the connection? Why did Dr. Shetty choose Cayman? What was his love?
So the interesting thing is, Dr. Shetty was always looking for a way. So he has a saying: a solution that isn't affordable isn't a solution. And when he was looking at 100 years after the first heart surgery, right? What was it? 80% of the world either can't afford or can't gain access to it. He's like, it's out of reach, right? Or there just isn't a technology in the area that they are. So he wanted to commoditize heart surgery. So in India, now you multiply it in rupees and it's right. Even more. But for instance, a heart surgery would be $10,000, multiply that into rupees. And he was able to get that down to $2,000. Right? Wow. So he wants to make it commoditized. So I remember Dr. Shetty even saying, Shamari, look at the cell phone in your hand. Like, yeah, smartphone. He's like, the amount you pay for that today, is that the same you paid for it 5 years ago or 7 years ago? Well, no. So is it more expensive? I was like, well, if it's the same type of model without features, no, it's much less expensive.
Right.
He said, okay. So he said, that's true of everything in this world. With time, with research, with technology, the price goes down. Why is healthcare the only industry with time, with research, that the price goes up?
Wow.
And he's like, you may think what this being held in your hand, if you don't have it, without it, you might die, right? But he's like, but without healthcare and super specialty healthcare, you will actually perish. And he said, that's wrong. So that was his mission, to show that a private institution, through technology, through efficiencies, can actually commoditize and reduce the cost and still give you the best outcomes, if not better, than other like institutions in the world. And he wanted to prove that he could do that in the Western Hemisphere. And if you look at the cost of doing business in the Cayman Islands, we're akin to New York. A cabbage, the bypass surgery in New York, will cost upwards of $150,000. We're able to offer it in the Cayman Islands for $30,000 US. All right.
Wow.
With all of the expense in Cayman showing that it is possible. And that's why when he mentions business schools, Harvard's business school has written case studies about NH and the Cayman Islands and Health City, showing how we're able to actually offer quality of excellence in regards to our outcomes, as well as reducing the cost for these super specialty types of surgeries. So he was looking for a place in the Cayman Islands, I'm sorry, in the on this side of the world to actually do it. He had somebody who was a friend previously, who that person's life was saved by Dr. Shetty.
Right.
So there was a connection there. And when he came to the Cayman Islands, drove around, saw the people, saw the infrastructure, and said it was right after the financial tsunami, 2008. So the then leader of the country, McKeever Bush, was looking for other industries that would be recession proof moving forward.
Right.
And when he had a conversation, he said, well, I can do this, and you need to travel to India so you can see what we can do. But I would need X, Y, and Z so that we can move our doctors from there here to give this level of excellence. And that's what happened, and the rest is history.
Man, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So does he live here now, or is he still?
No. I mean, he practices. So
okay.
I don't know if you've ever, you need to watch it. Netflix.
I did watch some of it.
Surgeon's
I need
Cut.
to finish it.
Well, you need to finish it.
Yeah, I need to finish it.
Did you watch Dr. Shetty's portion? Because there are about 4 different doctors.
I started for that.
Just
I didn't.
Go to Dr. Shetty's and watch that. And the next time we come here, I'm going to quiz you on it.
All right, next
but
week
that's gonna open your eyes, and you're going to truly understand.
I don't know how much more you want my eyes to open. Unless you guys offering eye surgery, then
Netflix Surgeon's Cut. Everybody listening, definitely watch that. But just they're like 4 or 5 different. So this is it. Netflix has a documentary that chooses 5 physicians in the entire world,
and he's one. It's crazy.
To actually have a documentary on, with 5 different episodes, just talking about in their area, they're savants. He is the savant for the heart and his business model, and showing what he's doing in the world to help people. You have to watch it.
And you have another clip. You want to intro that clip?
Definitely. So this clip actually speaks to the fact that one of the things Dr. Shetty wants to do is to ensure that 10, 15, 20 years from now, whatever Health City looks like, right now, the non-medical staff are heavily Caymanian, 65, 70%. He wants that same percentage for the medical staff. But obviously, you have to start somewhere. So we're inspiring young minds so they can go overseas, get trained, and come back and fit within the fabric. And eventually, in 10, 15, 20 years, 60 to 70% of all medical persons within Health City will be Caymanians.
Love it. Here we go.
For the last 8 years, our Healthcare Explorers program to entice children from elementary school to college students to understand the beauty of healthcare services has grown tremendously, with major response from the students. With our expanded services at the Camana Bay, we will be able to reach out to a lot more students in the future. In the last summer, we offered internship placements for 18 students coming from schools and colleges from China, Hawaii, United Kingdom, United States, and Jamaica, and many other countries. Through our STEM videos, STEM day camp, virtual site visit, and Shadow a Doctor program, we had more than 9,700 interactions with the student community in the last 1 year alone. Let me tell you a quick story what this number means. Elman Elizondo, a Caymanian student from John Gray High School, visited our health city 7 years ago. And I happened to be at the health city at that time. And I had the privilege of meeting this boy and his colleagues. As a student, Elman returned to our hospital many times under the School Explorers program. Subsequently, Elman joined our services at the warehouse. Then a year later, he again joined our hospital as a nursing assistant. This year, this young Caymanian boy left our job and joined nursing training program, Bachelor of Nursing at UCCI under the Health Cities Scholarship Program. What a wonderful, inspiring journey. Elman plans to return to our health city as soon as he completes education, and I'm sure he will become one of the best nurses, and we will all be proud of him. High on my wish list for Cayman Island is to encourage young boys and girls to embrace medical profession. I know it will happen. It's a matter of time. My dream is to see one day the entire health city of Cayman Island is staffed by the most skilled Caymanian doctors, Caymanian nurses, Caymanian administrators, and everyone involved in the healthcare.
Wow. I love that.
Yep.
I love the seed that he's planting. Like, it's not just there's an actual plan behind this all.
Definitely. And what was interesting is, just anecdotally, I remember going to primary school when there is profession day prior to House City Explorers and seeing policemen, firemen, and after we got into the schools, after a year or two, just anecdotally, you're walking through profession day.
Right.
And what do you see? Kids dressed as doctors.
Yes.
Kids dressed as the mad scientists. Kids dressed as nurses. Kids dressed as technicians. And you realize that you're seeing that mind shift where they're saying, you know what? This is interesting, and I can actually become, and I want to actually do this. And I'm always looking at, you can't manage what you can't measure, right? And how do you measure success? And it's a little bit difficult, but we have a great working relationship with the Ministry of Education as well. And Mr. Charles Bush, who is in charge of our education program that I work closely with, as my department, the education program falls within. So Charles is the key employee in that area. And I remember at the very beginning when I took over the program 4 or 5 years ago, saying, Charles, how can we measure this? How will we know that we've been truly impactful? And he was searching. And he found a statistic that 8% of the government scholarships that were going overseas were medically aligned.
Wow.
And we said, you know what? If in 3 to 4 years, we can get that to 15%, we'll know that we've been impactful. And we checked back a year and a half ago, and it's now 21% of all all scholarships, government, are going off to our careers.
I know a couple of those kids. Well, they're young adults now. Yeah.
And we have stories of young men and women, but one young man in particular who wanted to be a pilot, right? And he heard about the fact that he could actually come into the hospital. He was coming for the kids that were coming from Haiti, and he was part of the program to have backpacks to give them toys and the such. And he remembered seeing one little boy who could hardly walk because he couldn't breathe properly.
Right.
And then when he came back in 2 weeks, the little kid's running around, right?
Oh.
And he's like, so the surgery did that. He got so interested, he found out about our Shadow a Doctor program whereby he could actually see a surgery. And he signed up and he went into the surgery, saw a surgery, stayed in there for 8 hours on his feet. And now he is pre-med He's overseas. Changed track because that was so impactful that now he wants to be a doctor.
That is amazing. For those who just tuned in, you've missed a lot. You can recap it on our YouTube page, Star 927 Cayman. But we began talking about the brand new facility, groundbreaking over by Camana Bay. It's going to introduce so many firsts and great procedures here to Cayman, which I applaud you guys for. So the only question that I haven't, or the answer I haven't heard is when.
Right.
Is this going to be ready?
It's the hospital, 70,000 square feet, is going up starting at one time, but the radiotherapy center is separate, and there's a bridge that will connect it. The radiotherapy center will be up and ready by October of this year.
Wow.
So the persons will be able to avail themselves of radiotherapy if needed. But then the rest of the hospital, so that's the first 10,000 square feet, under 10,000, will be ready by October. The other 50 to 60,000 square feet will be ready by October of the next year, 2023.
Wow.
So cancer care, radiotherapy, by the end of this year, it will be here. And then everything else that we've been speaking about in regards to neonatology, in regards to the emergency room, etc., will be ready by the next year. And just to mention that we're preparing for it. So recently, Dr. Rashmi, we brought her on island, and she's the only breast oncologist on island. So, breast cancer is a big thing, and she's surgical physician. So now within the Cayman Islands, we have a breast physician that can do surgeries for cancer prior to us actually having the radiotherapy. But obviously, it all works together.
Right.
When come October.
Again, thanks to you guys. I mean, we never saw the vision. I'll speak for the local. We never knew. I didn't know. I had no idea that's what was happening. Yeah. I had no idea that's where we were going.
So not to cut you, right? But what was funny is I remember leaving the Department of Tourism, right, as director of tourism, and people thinking, oh, Shamari gone off, or Shamari mad.
That was me.
He gone up to East End to do what? Or, oh, he's under so much stress from Department of Tourism. He wants
you
some
mad. You went look soldier crab.
He wants some cushy job up at East End. But what happened is there was a good friend of mine, a good friend, coach, right? Richard Parchment had come to see me previously because he was a part of the development team. And they were talking about the fact that we need somebody who understands the Caribbean, understands the U.S., understands. So they came to ask me, is there a U for the Caribbean that we can bring in? And I had already heard about the project, but then Dr. Shetty was here speaking and came and spoke to me and told me the vision that he had and what
this was like laid out way from when you were hired?
Way before, right?
Wow.
So then he was like, and we need somebody like you. And he also said to me, he's like, the interesting thing is, because I said, even afterwards, I was like, Dr. Shetty, how do you find such great people? And he said, I don't find great people. They find me. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, once you have a great vision and your chart is truly in the right place, God puts people together. And he's like, so
Amen.
God always brings the right people at the right time for us to do great things together. So once you believe in the vision and you put in the hard work, just remember we're helping people as we go along. So I just always remember the conversations he had with me, and I was sold and I understood the vision, and I sat there, and the only thing that was holding me back, and I remember being like Young Caymanian Leadership Award recipient, speaking to kids and talking about who moved my cheese. And there was one wall, right? The book, Who Moved My Cheese. And there was one wall that said, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? And the conversation you always have with them is, whatever that is, and you would do it, but you're afraid, do it. And I remember sitting, thinking, lying in my bed, looking up and saying, how can I go and give these speeches when the only thing that's holding me back, because I want to be a part of this, is all the uncertainty. I said, you know what? I would be a hypocrite if I didn't do it. So what would I do if I wasn't afraid? And I said I would take that job.
There you go.
And there we did. There we are. Here we are today.
That's a good story. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for all that you guys are doing. Will Dr. Shetty be here for the opening?
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. So
this is the one next year, October.
No. this October
for the radiology
for the radiotherapy.
Right.
He will be here for that to cut that ribbon and make his speech.
Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, man.
Again, if you missed it, you can go on our YouTube page, watch it. It's a lot of great information. For anybody that wants to reach out, maybe sign up for the Healthcare Explorers.
Yeah. So you can definitely. Well, all you have to do is Google, right? You Google it and it will pop up. But we have an email as well as you can go on our website healthcity.ky and you'll find it there, and you can always sign up from there as well. Or if worst case scenario, info at healthcity.ky is our response button on the website. Just ask and we'll put you in contact with Mr. Charles Bush and he will make it happen.
There you have it. Health City Camana Bay coming real soon. Again, a lot of groundbreaking technology. Can't wait. Thank you again.
Definitely.
Hope you guys have a good educational.
And I caught 4 soldier crabs.
You did, didn't you?
4 soldier crabs.
I know you did, man.
No matter where you are or where you're going, you deserve to be in control of your freedom. Introducing the new Cayman National Online Banking and